Hello and welcome everybody to Time Management for Busy People. Um, so glad that you can make the time to be here today. Hello if you're joining us live, and hello if you're watching on a recording on YouTube. We put these sessions on YouTube because we know that people are busy and this is all about our session today, but glad that you can make it here online. We're going to use the chat today if you've got any questions, but if you are feeling brave, you are welcome to unmute yourself and ask a question as we're going through. But yeah, use the chat, and that way we can see what you're sort of finding out, what you'd like to learn, and if we're missing anything along the way. So we'd love to hear. Firstly, let me know where you're joining us from and what you're looking to learn today. Share in the chat with us. And as I said, we can stop and start and ask questions along the way regarding time management for busy people. Here I am, I'm Julie Cliff. I'm a professional organiser and declutter coach. Before starting my business, Space and Time, in 2015, which is 10 years ago, hooray! I was an executive assistant and administrator for 20 years. So helping people get and stay organised is something I love to do. Just before 2015, found a group of professional organisers here in Melbourne. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. Found a group of professional, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. And I still meet with them monthly, learning about the industry. So those people have been instrumental into the success of my business. So I found at that time that this is a thing. Professional organising is a thing. You can go into people's homes and use the skills that I was learning and using in the office to help people in their homes. So as I said, my business, Space and Time, is all about helping people get and stay organized in their homes. So it's about not just the physical space, it's about managing their time as well. So that's where this is coming today, about our time management. So we're really going to be looking at that and how we can get those important things done that we want to do each and every day, or each month, each quarter, each year. I'm married. My husband is headed out early this morning to do some training, and both my teenage sons are at school slash a TAFE course today. And I do have a group of girls that work for me here in Melbourne. I've got 8 of them at the moment, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, make that 11. 2 in Geelong and 1 here in, and the rest here in Melbourne. And my awesome assistant, Mary Lou, that's joining us online. As I said, introduce yourself in the chat where you're joining us from. There's Mary Lou, hello. And let us know what you're looking to learn and where you are joining us from. So what can you expect in our session today? Well, we're going to have a look at where all your things on your to-do list come from. We want to prioritize and stay focused on the important tasks. And we want to structure our week to suit our energy and make being organized a part of our daily life, not just something we do every now and then. It's something that we do each and every day, and we want to start doing what organized people do. Before we kick off, I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm going to put my timer on, get my little watch out. 1 minute to think about how you currently use your time. I've got a funny thing on my face. 1 minute to think about how you currently use your time at the moment, and what could you tweak? How would you like to use your time in the future? And share in the chat. Your time starts now. I'm going to write myself a couple of notes because I was just thinking about some things that I need to do. Hi, Kim. Thanks for coming. Nice to see you. Just saw your lovely face. And hello and welcome to everyone. We're talking about, for 1 minute, how you'd like to use your time in the future, and how are you using it now? As I said, let's keep quiet so you can think. 36 seconds to go. What are your challenges with time? Five seconds. Thank you. That's time. Let me check out the chat. Thanks for your participation, everyone. Mary Lou is saying hello. Rosemary is saying hello. Thank you for joining us. Here we are. Rosemary's in New York City. Awesome. Thanks for coming. Dola uses a diary to keep herself organized, and Penelope uses the electronic to-do list. I love it. And time is dispersed across tasks. I'd like to adopt time blocks. I love your idea, Penelope. Time blocking is awesome. We will talk about that a bit today, and I do highly recommend that to be able to block things out and chunk bits of time together. So thanks for those thoughts. If you've got any more that come up about how you're currently using your time and how you might like to use it differently in the future, continue to share that in the chat as I'm gibbering along. And don't forget to ask any other questions. I might speak a bit fast, or you might not understand some Aussie-isms that I say, so feel free to ask for any clarification as we're going along. So the structure for our session today, will be going through the 6 steps of the space and time organizing system, which starts with stopping more stuff, which is stop putting more things on your to-do list. We'll talk in detail about that. The second step in the space and time organizing system is your commitment to being organized. The third step, sort the stuff. So we'll sort it out so it makes sense. Fourth step is things you no longer need. So that's the decluttering step. What can we just completely and utterly cross off your to-do list and free you up to do some more important tasks? The fifth step is easy storage for your to-dos. So your diary, a to-do list, Trello, however you want to manage what you need to get done. And also maintenance tools. As I said, this isn't just something fun for us to do. Today it's Thursday here in Melbourne, something fun for us to do on a Thursday. This is something that we can incorporate into our life each and every day. So let's look at the first step. As I said, first step of the space and time organizing system is stop the stuff. Before we get too far into that, I wanted you to have a bit of a think about what the big deal is of having too much on your to-do list. My clients tell me, and I did ask Maria just yesterday, and she replied to me that having too much on your to-do list is just overwhelming. Like you don't even know where to start. So it's really important for us to be focused on those important things and knowing the things that we can just cross off the list. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but too much stuff on your to-do list is just overwhelming. You feel a bit of, analysis paralysis and not knowing where to start. Also, we only have 168 hours in a week. Time goes very fast, and the best thing for us to be able to do is to manage that. That's what we're here for today. And just to be able to allocate time for important tasks. I'm going to say important tasks a lot today because that's our main focus. Because today we're not talking about getting more done. We are talking about getting those important things done and how we can manage it throughout our week. And having a good idea of why we've got so much on our list can really help us understand where it all comes from. So there might be things that you're doing for yourself, things for the family. There might be things for the business if you work for yourself, or the people that you work for, or maybe if you're in retirement, you've got volunteering or just enjoying traveling. I speak with quite a few clients that are retired, and they are so busy. They have trouble trying to figure out what to get done and where they're traveling to, and sometimes find it a bit difficult to get things done because there's not the same deadlines that we have when we're when we have got working and we're sort of reporting to other people. So This Stop the Stuff is really about an audit and having a think about how we use our time and all the things that are on our list. And one really good thing we can start to do to stop more things in our calendar, stop running around like a headless chook, is to practice saying no. And no can be a complete sentence. Someone might ask you, "Oh, Mum, can you pick me up from training tonight?" Like, we do love to do things as mums. We love to do it as much as we can for kids, but sometimes they've just got to figure it out for themselves. You know, get themselves to or from sport or other activities, to and from school. It might be public transport. It might be asking a friend. So we can say no to people. We can say no, as I just said, to our kids. We can say no to our employees if you've got a good relationship. We can say no to ourselves. No, I'm not going to do that fancy shiny object thing over here because I'm busy at working on this project here that I have promised that I'm going to do. So we can practice saying no. So that's all about really being aware of what we're saying yes to, what we're putting on our to-do list, and knowing that we are the boss of our time. We can structure it as we wish. I certainly would like to acknowledge that there are different stages of life and different seasons, as you may say, that sometimes we are absolutely ridiculously busy. There is no time to scratch yourself sometimes, and I do understand that. Sometimes we might be unwell as well, or looking after people that are unwell. So there are so many things that we are juggling, but we really do want to try and manage all of those things as much as we can, rather than just going along with the flow. And space and time is about making conscious choices about how we use our space and our time, not just doing it because that's how we have always done it. Any questions about that? Pop it in the chat. Let me have a look at the chat before I move on. And awesome, Bill is arriving. Hi, Bill, great to see you. Let me have a look at the chat. Nothing further on there. Thank you again for your participation. Let me go on to this step 2, your commitment to being organised. So this one is all about making space, if I can read it rather than make it up. So now that we've got a clear idea of what you want to achieve and how you want to live your life, we were just talking before, we had that 1 minute at the start of the session, how we're currently using our time and how we may like to do it more likely in the future. Now we've got that future idea in our mind, we want to start moving towards that. We want to get committed towards being an organised person, and we're going to start to do things that will move us towards that. And I'm sorry to say there is no magic wand. I've got lots of tips here today, but there isn't one magic bullet that's going to fix it all. You know, being organised takes time, commitment, focus, and persistence, just like anything that we are trying to get good at, whether it's sport, whether it's cooking, whether it's maths homework, anything that we are trying to improve at. We really do need to put the time in. We need to be committed to it. We need to be focused and start saying no, as I said, and be persistent about it. And be really clear on your goals and what you are trying to achieve here. And I would think that many of you that are here with us today are looking for a nice flow to your day, rather than be so busy, so overworked, running late for appointments, overwhelmed. I think one of your goals today, and let me know in the chat if you have a more specific one or a different one, moving towards that goal of just having a bit more ease and a bit more simplicity in your week by managing your time and getting those important things in the diary. So as I was saying before, what do you want your life to look and feel like? We're getting really committed here. So what are we getting committed to? Do you want to feel rushed, overwhelmed, scattered, or exhausted? I don't think anybody that's here is looking forward to that. Now is the time to make that deliberate choice about how we want our time to be. Again, I know there are different stages of our lives that are so busy. When my boys were small, I was working part-time, running them to childcare, school, and I always use the example of putting shoes on kids when they're so small. That's one of the most frustrating things that you can do. But any of those little tasks when we're raising kids, or doing any tasks for ourselves, are time consuming. We need to be able to make time for that. And then if we're talking about kids or encouraging other people around us, give them the responsibility too, to be able to do things their way, to take stuff off of our plate, so we're not having to do so much ourselves. And that's a deliberate choice that we can make. So I would love to hear your thoughts a little bit more about what sort of things you're moving towards. What are your goals here about your commitment to being organized? What do you think you could do better? Again, we're really trying to tap into your mindset and what's going to work for you to keep you motivated when you're being committed to being organized and moving towards the that organized life that we want to live. So let's have a look at step 3, which is sort the stuff. It's all about, in this step, looking at all of those things that we've got on our to-do list and starting to prioritize them. And what we can do is start with a bit of a brain dump, which is a page that looks like this. And Mary Lou will share the link for you shortly if you'd like to download this brain dump. But otherwise, you can just use a piece of paper or a notebook and just dump down on the page everything that you have on your mind. So put some time, all the things that you want to do for yourself, all the things that you want to do for the business, all the domestic duties that need to be done during the week, the washing, the groceries, the meals, the cleaning, the family commitments. Just get them all out of your head so that we can start to sort and start to prioritize them. Because if they're all swimming around in our head and we're ruminating around them a lot, it's difficult to really see what those important things are. So get them out of your head on this brain dump. Thank you, Mary Lou, for the link in the chat. Oh, sorry, I just was going to have a look at this in a bit more detail before I ran along. But when we're starting to sort these, we can really start to think of all of those things that we've got written down on our brain dump. Are they really that important? And are they going to move us towards this organized life that we want to live? So, making sure we've got enough things for ourselves, whether it's hobbies or whether it's, time to go to work. And also time for the domestic duties. So I've held many of these workshops in person and online, and people tell me that if they make time for the meal prep and the cooking of the meals, or even the cleaning around the home, those duties are much more enjoyable because there is time set aside for them. They're not trying to do it in a hurry while something else is happening. They've got a lot of time and they know they don't need to worry about those domestic duties because it's in the calendar, and we will do them on Monday or Friday or Saturday, whatever day you want to do. So again, with all of this brain dump that we're doing, we're looking at that list and going, is it really that important? And starting to, sort them together and prioritize them. And we'll look at getting rid of some things shortly. But this idea of getting them out of the head and starting to sort them can be really helpful too. And family commitments is a good one. As I was saying before about the kids' sports activities, anything that you need for your extended family or your community or your church, whoever it might be, start to sort them out in your mind and start to prioritize them in this third step. So let's have a look at the fourth step of the space and time organizing system. This is one of my favorite things to do, is the decluttering step. Of course, if we're talking about physical stuff, this would be the decluttering of the physical items. But we're talking today about getting rid of the tasks that you don't even need to do at all. Let's have a look at some ways that we can do that. So we're again looking at that brain dump, or looking at your to-do list. Which of these tasks can you outsource, automate, or delegate? So go through each one of those things. And which ones can the kids do if you've got kids at home, or grandkids, or others hanging out with you in your home? Which task can your spouse or partner help out with? Which task can your neighbours, friends, or work colleagues or other family members help out with? And are there things that you can say no to? Is there something on your list that you can get your trusted Sharpie, and this one does say Sharpie on it, it's not just a black marker, is this a Sharpie, on your to-do list, and just go and cross it off? This, as I just said before, is one of my favorite things to do. It's like, no, I don't need to do that at all. It might be something nice to do, but no, I don't need to do it. Or it might be a matter of, I don't need to do it right now. Learning to do watercolor painting, for example, might be something awesome to do, but maybe I could do that later in the year, or maybe it could wait until next year when I haven't quite got so much on. That being said, though, in the next step, when we start to plug things in our calendar and in our maintenance, if there is something that is really important to you, we can absolutely make time for it. If you want to do water painting, let's figure out a way to do it. But there are many, many things. Oh, looks like I've got a magic marker. Here it is. It disappears. Get your magic marker out and just cross off those things that maybe someone said you should do it, or you feel like you should do it. Anything with a should in front of it can be crossed off the list. Yes, I know we do need to still do the cooking. We still do need to do the cleaning, all these things that we might not actually really be enthused about doing. But hopefully, as I said before, we can make some more time in our week so that it's a little bit more structured, and we know when those things are going to be happening, and we can make time for it. So it's a little bit more interesting and a bit more relaxed, because that's going to be happening at that time. So this step here, things you no longer need, is all about decluttering the unimportant tasks from your calendar to free you up for activities of your choice, those things that you really want to do for yourself. And here are some questions here in this step that we can also ask ourselves to help you with your priority setting. Does this take me closer to my goal? The goal of being more relaxed at home, the goal of getting to appointments on time, the goal of getting to your appointment on time with the right, bits and pieces that you need to take there. You're going to a specialist. Have you got the right referral information, etc.? So does this take me closer to my goal? Does this task lighten my mental load? That might be a question that you ask yourself when you're looking at your long list of things. It's like, yes, if I get that job done there, that's going to be such a relief to me. I'm going to just get in. I'm going to do it right now. The third dot point there says, which of all these tasks will give me the highest payoff or make me money? So if you're running your own business, maybe it's like, oh, well, maybe I'm spending a little bit too much time on the marketing side of it. I should get on and make some phone calls that will be the highest payoff and make me money. So having a think about those business activities. So having a think about which of these tasks will give you the highest payoff. And also the last point there, if I could only do 3 or 4 tasks of value, and that would be a real impact, what would they be? So ask yourself these questions. And as I said before, some of these things that we do need to do, they don't really these questions don't help a lot. As I said, we do need to feed the children. We do need to feed ourselves. And I forgot, we do need to sleep. And we should really prioritize our sleep and get that in the calendar. And I think we're talking about that in the maintenance tools, but sleep is so important, you know, getting to bed at a good time and a regular time. But my point being that there are a lot of a lot of tasks that these questions will be relevant for. And it's like, oh, no, doing this is not going to take me closer to my goal. In fact, it's going to make me even more stressed and overwhelmed. It will not lighten my mental load. Maybe someone says I should do it, but personally, I don't want to. So this decluttering step is really important about keeping you in mind, keeping your goals in mind, and keeping, you know, those priorities on those important tasks in mind. Have I missed anything along the way? We've got 2 steps left. We're doing very well for time. We may even finish a bit early today, I think. But having a think about what we've been talking about so far today. So at the start, we're talking about stopping more things on your to-do list. Stopping, well, something else I was going to say about that. And a bit of a time audit. How are we spending our time? Where can we say no? The second step was your commitment to being organized. It does take commitment. It does take focus. It does take persistence. So are you up for it? The third step, we looked at sorting the items into some sort of, it could be some of that time blocking that we were talking about before. Chunk some of those things together in blocks that you could do together when we're sorting the tasks. And the fourth step we were looking there was just crossing some of them out, at decluttering our to-do list. So have a think about that. Any of those things that haven't made any sense to you, or you'd like some more clarification on, pop it in the chat and we'll come back to it. But we will continue on with this next step now. So this is the 5th step of the space and time organizing system, and it's easy storage. So of course, if we're talking about your physical items, we're talking about easy ways to be able to keep our stuff organized. It's a permanent home for our stuff, like these little baskets on a shelf with these kids' toys in it. We're going to apply the same principle to those important tasks that we want to get done. So easy storage for our to-dos. What I want you to do here is to have a think about what's going to work for you the best. I would highly recommend having a separate to-do list. I just use a piece of paper. Sometimes I don't even look at my to-do list, but I just have this double-sided, double-sided notebook with my things. This is mainly for the business, and a tiny bit of stuff in the corner for the family. Having the to-do list separate to your email, because emails are often other people's agendas. They're often asking you to do things. So keep it separate so that you're not getting stuck in your email, because the more time you spend on email, the more time you spend on email. It just seems to be a vicious cycle. The more you send, the more you get back. And it's often not moving forward on your goals. So we're talking about easy storage for the things that you need to get done. And I would highly recommend, as I said, a separate to-do list. There are a million special apps out there like Todoist, or it might be SmartSuite, or it might be ClickUp. But they can get so technical that you're beavering away. It takes you half an hour to get the task on there, whereas you could have either done the task and not even written it on your to-do list, or just write it on a piece of paper. Sorry for moving around and getting my nose in the sunlight that's coming through the window there. All right, so let's have a look at now plotting time in your calendar to get stuff done. So we've got it on a list. This is now a shorter list because you have done the previous step, which was, decluttering, crossing the things off the list, we're going to literally time block now, or put the items in the calendar at a time to do it. Also, be interested to hear, are you a paper or electronic diary person? I used to be a bit of a combination of two, having a big family planner for everybody and then the calendar, but don't do that so much anymore because the kids they're older in high school now, so they haven't got as many activities I need to be involved in. But now I use a Google Calendar, put everything in there, and then print it out at the start of the week, and I can just write on it beside me. But looking forward to hearing, do you use a paper calendar or electronic calendar, and why? But as I said, what I want you to do is to start making time in your calendar for the things that are on your to-do list. They're no good sitting on a list wanting to be done. We need to actually do them. So let's look at putting those times in. And then, a great bonus of having an electronic calendar is to set notifications from your calendar to remind you to do things. Now, I'm just going to have a look and see what I've got. Reminders. Have I got reminders? I think I've done all reminders that have come up. So I wear an Apple Watch and my Apple phone, and they talk to me and remind me to do things. So I had to take the car this morning to be serviced. So I had a reminder come up at 6 o'clock this morning that I needed to drop the car off to be serviced at 8 o'clock. So that popped up to remind me to do that. And I have those sorts of things going off during the day. I don't have everything on there. And I know people that have alarms and things going bing, 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 bing all day. I think it's the better thing to do to have reminders for those really important things, and do it when the reminder goes off, not snooze it. But yeah, let me know. What are your thoughts there? Do you use reminders? Do you use notifications? Do you use electronic calendar? What's working for you and what's not working for you? But as I said, I love the electronic calendar, and I literally use something similar in my Google Calendar to this page here, this daily planner, and Mary Lou will pop the link in a second for our daily, it's a weekly planner. But we just pop the time in the calendar to actually do the thing. Well, I can't really share my calendar. I should, because it's got other information on there that people can't see. But I'm at home today after this session, so I've got time put aside for quite a few projects today because I'm at home. That way I don't have to think, oh, what am I going to do today, and spend half the day prioritizing. I've already put it in, and then I'm more inclined to do it. I find it very difficult to come up with the idea and then action it at the same time. I like to have my thinking and my planning time for my priorities, and put them in the calendar. It's like, oh yes, good. At 11 o'clock, once I finish today, I am going to, what am I going to do? Well, let me have a look. 11 o'clock when I finish, I've got another few workshops coming up, and I need to make some preparations for them. So I've got 2 hours I've put aside to do that workshop prep. And then I need to make a call at 1 o'clock. 1:30, I need to round up some things in relation to my team, and then something to do with my tax at 2:30. So I've blocked out my time today. Highly recommend doing that time blocking that we were talking about at the start of the session. Let me look at my chat, just make sure we haven't missed anything. Thanks, Mary Lou, for the brain dump and the weekly planner. Rosemary says, I use calendars that notify me, and I do add alarms for things. Awesome. Thanks, Rosemary. I love that idea. I do the same, and I'm glad it works for you. Let me look at, this is our weekly planner here that Mary Lou has put in the chat a link to, so you can start to block out your week. We can put our work time in, we can put our exercise in, we can put our sleep time in, we can put our lunch breaks in. And this can really help us manage our week. If we don't, put it all out like this, we might go, oh, hang on a minute, I've booked 2 things on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And if you're looking in advance, you can see that and can make some adjustments. But get it written down somewhere, and then we're more inclined to get it done. And really make it a commitment to yourself as well to stick to some of these things. Put it in your diary as though it's a doctor's appointment. You wouldn't just go, oh, no, I don't feel like going to the doctor. Maybe if you're too sick, you wouldn't. But the idea being you and your important projects are just as important as a doctor's appointment, just as important as going to see the specialist. Get it into your calendar. Let's use this as our storage space for our things to do. Plot it out so that we're more inclined to get it done and not just go, nah, I'm not going to do that. Let's plot it out. Any questions about that previous step and how we can use a to-do list and also our calendar to get things done? We were talking at the start of this session that we wanted to talk about the flow, the right flow in our week. We'll talk about that a bit more in a sec, but just before I move away from this one, as I said, when we plot our week out, we can go, oh, gee, Wednesday is looking really busy. I think I'll move that appointment to Friday. Or we can, start to manipulate some things around and give us some more time for rest, for breaks, for time for ourselves. And because those recharge times and sleep in particular is really important to help us get those important projects done. I find that if I use a timer during the day, which I'll try and remember to do myself today, 25-minute increments like the Pomodoro technique, put the timer on for 25 minutes, head down, get stuck in. But then when that 25 minutes is finished, hop up and take a bit of a break. Those breaks can mean such a difference between, make such a difference of how you feel at the end of a long and productive day. If you've just go all day and don't take breaks and you hardly eat anything, you will get to the end of the day. Yeah, you might have got a lot done, but you'll be really tired, you'll be exhausted, your brain will feel overwhelmed. Whereas if you've had some good breaks in between, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, read a book, go out in the sun, you will feel more energized and have more energy at the end of the day. And as I said, go along with your energy flows as well. I'm a real morning person, so I like to get lots of things done in the morning, but don't ask me to do anything late in the afternoon or, from 8:30 at night. But that's just how my energy works. Work with your energy. Let me know, are you a morning or an afternoon person? Be interested to know that as well. Rosemary also says, oh yeah, I did buy this visual timer clock. It's pretty nice. Yeah, Rosemary, I have seen those visual timers. I don't have one myself, but a lot of my clients do. And you might put it on for 25 minutes and then you can just see the time moving. And it's a real visual representation of time, because I know people with executive functioning challenges may be time blind and just don't know where the time goes and how long time goes for. So sometimes those visual timers are awesome. Yeah, put a timer on, whatever sort of timer it might be, and get stuck into your projects. So let's have a look at the last step, maintenance. Step 6 of the space and time organizing system. One of the best tools that I like to use, and have been doing it for a long time, and I know a lot of my clients do as well, is at the same time each week, get your calendar out or your diary out and have a look at everything that you've got coming up for the week. I used to do this on a Tuesday afternoon when the school newsletter came out when the kids were in primary school, and I'd have a look at any special costume days that are coming up, any incursions they had. Have a look on that Tuesday through the newsletter, put it into the calendar, and also have a look at the rest of the week as well and see how all those things go with the rest of your week. So if the kids have got a dress up day in 2 weeks' time, make time on the weekend to go and find a costume, or make time in the evening to order something online. But if we're sitting down at a regular time once a week or a couple of times a week to see what we've got coming up in our calendar, then we're not surprised by these things, these costumes, these special days, or something special at work, or oh, that appointment, or oh, that doctor's appointment, or project is due at work. We can have a look and see what's coming up. And as I mentioned before, sometimes you might go, oh, actually, I can't get from this appointment to this appointment. I'll need to move one of them to give me some more travel time or something like that. And also a good way to ensure that you're getting to places on time. If you've got an appointment coming up, for example, this doctor's appointment maybe coming up in a week, make sure you know how long it's going to take you to get there, factoring in the traffic. Have you got the address? Do you know where you need to park? When I go to different clients' houses and I go to them, different houses regularly, I always ask where we can park, because it's not always the case of just being able to park out the front and walk in. I did have a client a few weeks ago that they lived in quite a high-rise building, and there wasn't long parking. I needed to be there for 4 hours. There wasn't long parking close by. I needed to park a couple of blocks away and walk. So for me to get to that appointment on time, I needed to give myself another 10 or 15 minutes to find a park and walk. So if you've got a doctor's appointment coming up, have a look at where that is, that address, and giving yourself plenty of time to get there. Again, getting to that doctor's appointment, have you got the right referrals or any information that you need to take with you to that appointment? So anything that you've got coming up, you're going somewhere a little bit different, having this time each week to look at the week ahead can really help you get and stay organized and get you to appointments on time. And knowing when you need to walk out the front door, not just what you might think you need to leave for the appointment at 10:30. That would mean, getting out to the car 10 minutes before that. Again, you don't just get into the car in no seconds at all. You need to pick up your bag, you grab your drink bottle, you walk out to the car, you open the car. Oh, there's something in the road. I need to do this. I need to get into the car. I'll plug my phone in. All these things take a little bit of time. So give yourself some good time buffers to get to appointments on time. I always say that even being on time is late. I like to be early to make adjustments for all these things. So I hope some of these have been really important tips for us to be an organized person, to manage our time and get to places on time. And again, it might be giving yourself some transition time before you walk out the door. You might be doing something, say working from home on that day. You need to walk out the door at 10:30, but you might need a little bit of time to get yourself ready for that. So again, planning in advance on when that all needs to happen. Be stopping what you're doing beforehand and not still, lost down this little rabbit hole. And not just one more thing, not just one more email. Oh, I'll make this quick phone call, knowing how long it's going to take you to get these things done before you walk out the door on time. So what we have covered today, we had a look at where all your to-dos come from, including a bit of a time audit, the different hats that you wear as well, like all the things you do as a mum, as a carer, as a business owner or working for somebody else, having a think of where all these to-dos come from. Is there too much coming from one source? We looked at prioritizing and staying focused on those important tasks. Yeah, really knowing what you're trying to do with your time, and even bigger than that, how you want to live your life. Structure your week to suit your energy. We spoke about that a bit. And also making being organized a part of your everyday life. And that is really about that calendar management, your to-do list management, so that we are focused on those important things and not just doing things on the side because they look like they're fun or someone said you should do it. It's really keeping focused on those important tasks. So we have in 2 weeks' time our next workshop, same time, 11 o'clock, sorry, 10 o'clock here, my time, is keepsakes declutter. So we're going to have a look at keepsakes, memorabilia, photos, and how we can declutter them. We'll be going through the same 6 steps of the space and time organizing system in relation to keepsakes. And 2 weeks after that, on the 11th of September, we're going to be decluttering the garage, again, looking at the same 6 steps, but specifically in relation to the garage, which often is just a big dumping ground of things that we don't really want to take any responsibility for, because sometimes it takes a lot of time to get things done. And then on the 25th of September, clear your space, double your time, and take control of your life. This is looking at both your space and your time, and that will be quite a big session. That one, looking forward to it. And just for coming along today, I would love to have a chat to you on Zoom. If you've got any questions that you'd like to ask, how can we tailor this specifically to you and your circumstances? And you can message me about that. Let me have a look at the chat. Mary Lou has said that the keepsakes workshop is already sold out, but if you'd like to join us, please just email us and we'll send you the link for that. But then also to get ready for these next workshops, we've got the garage decluttering workshop there in the chat, clear your space, double your time, and take control of your life, and the clarity call. And my email is julie@spaceandtime.com.au. If you'd like to take up that clarity call or any other questions, Rosemary, you are welcome. Thank you for your thanks. Any final things that you'd like to ask, either in the chat or you're welcome to unmute yourself. Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks Kim, thanks Dola, thank you Penelope, thank you Rosemary, and Bill. Always great to see you, Bill. Thank you. A regular of ours. Thank you, Mary Lou. Can't do this without you. All right, if there aren't any other questions once we finish up, send us an email and we'll be happy to get back to you. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks for the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye for now.